NBA fans, if you are looking for the best place to get NBA trade rumors, NBA news on free agency, maybe you want some more draft coverage, whatever it is, you better hit that subscribe button here on Chat Sports so you don't miss a single thing, because we are the most interactive YouTube channel on the planet. So now let's get into today's video. Today I want to start out with one guy that could definitely be on the move, and that's Bogdan Bogdanovic of the Sacramento Kings. Look, he's going to be a restricted free agent this summer, and the Kings may not be able to pay him, so they're like, hey, we're not going to pay him in free agency. We might as well get something for him while we can at this NBA trade deadline. Now, he's been a sixth man for the Kings so far this year, but he can really be a starter on just about any NBA team. He's an experienced guy since he came over from the EuroLeague. He's been experienced with that professional career. He's a young guy that can be part of a young core, or he can go and make a difference on a playoff team right now. The numbers he's been putting up for the Kings have been mighty impressive. 14.6 points per game, 4 assists, 3 boards, and really the three-point shot has been the best thing all year from Bogdanovic at nearly 40.1% from three. Now, the thing is, the reason I say the Kings can't pay him is because they already owe so much money to so many different guys. They locked up a lot of money in Buddy Hield, which was a smart move. Buddy Hield is a great young player, a great shooter. He's probably their best scorer right now on the team. But they also put $22 million into Harrison Barnes' contract for next summer, which locks him up, won't let them pay Bogdanovic. And then two guys who I frankly don't understand these moves at all. They paid Dwayne Dedmon $13 million next year, and they're paying Corey Joseph $12 million next year. And that money right there takes so much away from what they could pay a young player in Bogdanovic. It's going to be really hard for them to keep him when he enters restricted free agency. So which teams make sense for Bogdanovic at the trade deadline? I've got 4 for you. I've got 2 contenders, 2 playoff teams right here, the Dallas Mavericks and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks desperately need some other shooting. He could make sense as a playmaker with guys like Giannis and even Eric Bledsoe. But hey, maybe he wants to go be an addition to a young core, maybe a rebuilding team. I think 2 teams that make a lot of sense are the New York Knicks and the New Orleans Pelicans, 2 teams that are really sitting on a lot of assets, whether that's draft picks or young pieces, that they could make a move for Bogdanovic, and he could be a part of something special with a team like the Knicks and RJ Barrett. Maybe the Pelicans, Zion Williamson and Bogdanovic would be a fun duo for a long time. But here's a question I got for you guys. Which one player in the NBA do you want to see traded before the NBA trade deadline? You might get hit with an ad break here if you're watching on YouTube, so I want you to scroll down, reply to our pinned comment, tell me who is one player you want to see traded before the deadline. Now let's talk about Dennis Smith Jr. Look, the guy has had a really tough year in New York. He's been dealing with some health issues, some different issues at home as well, and it may just be time for another change of scenery. We know last year Dennis Smith Jr. was sent to New York from the Dallas Mavericks as a part of the Kristaps Porzingis deal. Everyone was thinking, hey, this is Dennis Smith's team now. He can go in there, be the starting point guard. Well, now he's not the starting point guard. In fact, he's not even the second point guard on the roster in the depth chart right now. These are the numbers he's put up this year that has led to a decline in minutes. It really just has not been pretty. 5.6 points per game, 2 assists and 2 rebounds. He's only shooting 31% from 3, and a number you don't see up here is that he's only shooting 33% from the field as a whole. It has not been a good year for Dennis Smith Jr., which has, as I said, led to a decline in these minutes. Frank Ntilikina is the new starting point guard, who ironically was taken 1 spot above Dennis Smith Jr. in the same draft. Elfrid Payton, a veteran guy, came into New York and took that backup point guard position away from Dennis Smith Jr. And then you got DSJ, who's only playing 17 minutes per game. So one team that automatically makes sense for Dennis Smith is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've already been linked to him. They've already said, hey, we have some interest in acquiring this guy. And here's why. Their starting 5 does not even have a point guard in it right now. Jarrett Culver, a shooting guard out of Texas Tech, is basically running the point. Josh Okogie is there, a great defensive presence. Andrew Wiggins, Robert Covington, and Karl Anthony Towns. So maybe, just maybe, the Timberwolves can throw something together and get their next starting point guard before the deadline rolls around in Dennis Smith Jr. and pair him up with guys like Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns. Now I have a very important question for you. What is your favorite NBA jersey that is currently sitting in your closet? Let me know in the comment section below. For me, I've got a Brian Scalabrine Boston Celtics jersey that I hold near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love it. Hey, maybe you want to go get a new jersey of your own. Well, here's what you're going to do. Go check out this sale, chatsports.com/NBA sale. Our partners at Fanatics are hooking you guys up with up to 70% off all NBA jerseys. Maybe you want this James Harden Rockets jersey. Maybe you want a Joel Embiid Philadelphia 76ers jersey. I don't think you'll be able to find a Brian Scalabrine jersey, but you might be able to. Go hit up fanaticschatsports.com/NBA sale. Let's continue with these overlooked players that could be traded before the deadline with Robert Covington of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Timberwolves are shopping him. He's been a great 3-and-D player for almost all of his career, but Minnesota is ready to move on because they need some help, like I said earlier, at the point guard position, and they think that he could do that for him. He's one of these guys that honestly can be plugged into any NBA system and immediately make an impact, whether that's at the small forward position or the power forward position. Now with today's NBA kind of reverting back to that stretch 4 type role, Robert Covington fits that perfectly, and he can defend either of those forward positions as well. This year for the Timberwolves, who are kind of on the outside looking in of the playoff picture in the Western Conference, Covington's been putting up 13 points per game and pulling down nearly 5 rebounds. And again, a really important part of his game is shooting the 3-ball well at 35.1% from 3. Look, at 29 years old, there aren't going to be a bunch of teams that are looking at the lottery trying to get Covington. No, these are going to be teams pushing for the playoffs, pushing for a spot in their conference finals that are going to want a guy like Robert Covington. The number one team that I have on this list that makes sense for him, the Milwaukee Bucks. Makes too much sense. Again, the Dallas Mavericks there, the Houston Rockets, both LA teams would really, really covet him, especially the Lakers because they need some help on the wing. Really just, that's what Covington does. He would come in, be a wing defender for whoever they go up against. But the team that I think needs him the most is the Houston Rockets. They put Robert Covington into this starting 5. I don't know how they're going to pull it off because the trade chips they have right now are not that pretty. But if they did, this starting 5 is going to be hard to beat offensively and defensively. You have Russell Westbrook and James Harden in the backcourt. Harden, arguably the best offensive player in the NBA right now. Actually, it's not arguable. Harden is the best offensive player in the NBA. And then you get 2 incredible defensive forwards in Robert Covington and PJ Tucker, along with Clint Capella manning the middle, and of course, the triple-double threat that is Russell Westbrook. So Houston's the team that I think needs to make a deal for Robert Covington. But which team this year needs to make a trade the most? Whoever it may be, let me know in the comment section below. Maybe it's your favorite team. If it is your favorite team and you want a new jersey, I got to remind you to go hit up Fanatics with this incredible sale. Before Christmas rolls around, go get the NBA fan in your life a jersey because that's what they want. Up to 70% off with Fanatics, chatsports.com/NBA sale, whatever it may be, whatever team it may be, you can find it at Fanatics. Let's talk about one more player that could be on the move this year before the NBA trade deadline rolls around. It's Thaddeus Young of the Chicago Bulls. Now, here's the deal with Thaddeus Young. Here's the reason I believe he could be on the move. He's only playing 21.7 minutes per game for Chicago, a team that is in full rebuild mode. They're focused on guys like Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Wendell Carter Jr. 21.7 minutes per game for Thaddeus Young would be the second lowest in his career behind only his rookie season in which he played 21 minutes per game. Now, he was signed to this Chicago Bulls team to be a veteran presence around the locker room, but that's really all he's been because he hasn't been doing a lot on the court because the Chicago Bulls have not let him be that. He doesn't like the way he's being used in Chicago's system. Chicago doesn't love him around or on the court that much because they're worried about their younger guys. Here's what Young's been putting up so far this year at 8.8 points per game and 4 rebounds, only shooting 31.9% from 3. He's been a really good stretch 4 for a lot of his career. He can play the 3 or 4 position. I'm kind of upset that Chicago is using him this way because I do believe he could be a really important player for a lot of teams. Chicago right now, this is what they're rolling out as their starting 5. Their backcourt of Chris Dunn and Tomas Satoransky, which I don't really understand. I think Kobe White should be starting. I still don't love the idea of Chris Dunn starting, even though he has been better defensively this year. Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, and Wendell Carter Jr. Of course, there's not a lot of room here for Thaddeus Young to break into that starting 5 because Markkanen's a great up-and-coming player. Wendell Carter Jr., another great up-and-coming player. Guys like Daniel Gafford, they just drafted. They're more focused on that than going out and getting minutes for a 31-year-old Thaddeus Young. So who's a team that could use him? The Portland Trail Blazers. Look, they have Carmelo Anthony. He's been absolutely incredible for them. Zach Collins is still down. Jusuf Nurkic is still down. So they could use another big man like Thaddeus Young if they're still trying to make a playoff push, which they obviously are with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum in the picture. So here's the deal that I cooked up. Thaddeus Young and Chris Dunn and a 2020 second-round pick go to Portland. Chris Dunn gets off Chicago's books. That allows Coby White to start at the point guard position full-time. And then Kent Bazemore and a 2020 first-round pick, which is lottery protected, goes to Chicago. So that means if it lands in the lottery, Portland gets to keep that pick. If it falls outside the lottery, then it goes to Chicago. Thaddeus Young would be a great power forward for the Trailblazers, who are trying to get themselves back into the Western Conference playoff picture. Now, to end this show, I've got one very important question for you, which is kind of a two-parter. Who do you want your favorite team to trade for before the NBA deadline? Now, you got to tell me who your favorite team is, and then you got to tell me which players you want to see them trade for in the comment section below.